Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things Usmnt y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again is my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, what's good, man?
Hey, what's good, dude? Dealing out here with the freaking Sahara dust. It's been a pain in my butt all day long, man. All day long.
Yeah, you sent me a picture of how it looked down there in Austin with all that dust, man. It looks crazy. Literally
It's
Sahara Desert.
it looks like well, if I'm not mistaken, the first time that I noticed it is I was still living in San Antonio, but it took me like 6 years living in San Antonio to notice that it was like an event. And I think it happens every year or something like that. But it sucks, man. It just sucks.
Stops you from running?
Well, at least outdoors. I'm gonna run after this. I'm gonna go to the gym and run there. Yeah.
Gotcha, man. But we're here to talk about the USMNT, specifically the Olympic USMNT team. Kind of give our recap of what happened in the group stage and who they will be playing in the quarterfinals of the Olympic Games. They're hoping to win that match to get into at least a possible medal match. But let's get into it, man. Obviously, the U.S. squad in the Olympics right now, coached by Marko Mitrovic, and he, as is custom and is known for the Olympics for a while now, they've gone to a Youth 23 tournament, more or less, right, with 3 over 23 players. The 3 over 23 players for the USMNT are Georgi Mihailovic, Miles Zimmerman, and Miles Robinson, and Walker Zimmerman. So what happened during this group match? They were obviously put in a group with France, with New Zealand, and with Guinea and Guinea, I guess is how you say it in English. But they started off with the hardest match of the three and lost to France 3-0. Goals by Lacazette, Olise, and Loic Bade. But, watching that match, the scoreline really did not reflect that, man. The USA played well despite the scoreline, and I think it's one of those matches where you look back and you say, the score wasn't fair by comparison to the performance there. Can you go through the stats for us, man, for that one?
For sure. So again, I mean, just to mention or to put a better picture as to what you're mentioning, that it wasn't necessarily a very, I guess, disparate, big difference match, right, between both teams. If you look at the shots, there were 9 from the USMNT, 10 by France. Shots on goal, pretty much also tied. 3 for the USMNT, 4 for France. 1 big save from the USMNT, 3 from France. 2 corner kicks by the USMNT, and then 8 by France. That's perhaps the stat with the biggest difference. And then we have fouls with 10 by the USMNT, 18 France, offsides for the USMNT, and 1 on France. So if you only look at those numbers, right, and you disregard the entire score, you can definitely tell that it was a very contested match between these two teams. But and people only look at the 3-0 and think that, hey, they must have been destroyed by France. But it took them almost 65 minutes to break the lock. So yeah.
Yeah, France obviously one of the favorites for the gold medal. So USA will, if they want to make it that far, most likely have to face them again. But one step at a time. And I think that was one of those matches where they learned a lot from, because their next 2 performances against New Zealand and Guinea were completely, where they found their finishing foot. They ended up beating New Zealand 4-1, and similar to France match, this was one where the final score didn't really reflect what was happening on the pitch. USA could have easily won 5 or 6-0, and New Zealand really just got that goal at the end where, the USA defense just kind of turned off. But this one was goals from Georgi Mihailovic, a penalty. Walker Zimmerman even got a goal. Gianluca Busio got a goal, and Paxton Aronson got a goal with an assist from Griffin Yao. So a good match there for the USMNT, turning it around. And go through the stats for us for that one, man.
Alrighty, so we got 19 shots by the USMNT. That's a lot of shots. 9 and then 9 by 19 for the USMNT, 9 on New Zealand. Shots on goal, 7 out of those 19 for the USMNT and 4 on New Zealand. 3 saves for each team. 8 corners for the USMNT, 3 for New Zealand. 10 fouls for the USMNT, 11 for New Zealand, and 2 offsides on the US side and 1 for New Zealand. So yeah.
Yeah, the U.S. team definitely outpacing New Zealand there, and it definitely showed on the stats and on the final score line. Similar to that Guinea match, this was a completely dominated match by the USMNT. Triple G could have learned a lot from this coach and from this young squad of how to play. The 12 times Zimmerman and Robinson were paired together against Guinea, not against Guinea, but in total against Guinea. This was the 12th time. Their record stands together 9 wins, 2 draws, and only 1 loss when they've been paired together. 2 center backs and Yeah, it's pretty good for, I mean, two MLS
Okay.
guys. And the three goals were from a free kick, a really really nice free kick from Georgi Mihailovic in the 14th minute, and a doblete, a double from Kevin Paredes, assisted by Jack McLean and Paxton Aronson. Two very very good goals for Paredes, that ultimately led to this 3-0 win. What are the stats summary for this one?
We got 14 shots for the USMNT, 17 for Guinea. 9 of those 14 goals were on target for the USMNT, 6 on 17 for Guinea. 6 saves for both teams, 6 corner kicks for both teams, 8 fouls on the US side, 9 on Guinea, and then 4 offsides of the USMNT. So it just goes to show that the USMNT was all attack on this match.
Yeah, and the stats also show like that Guinea had some chances, but looking back, I don't remember too clearly a chance that I recall that says it was really really close to going in for Guinea. So those stats may have been inflated
Mm-hmm.
by weak shots and shots that rolled on target. But you're looking back at the match and that you really see that the USMNT dominated that match. So highlights so far from the USMNT here, Olympic squad. Like we mentioned, the two center backs playing very very solid. Kind of surprising. Like we doubted these picks as the overage players, Zimmerman, Robinson, as well as
Yeah.
Mihailovic, but they have been very, very good. They've shown their worth there, kind of giving that defense, solidifying that defense, giving it confidence. Paredes also proved his worth up top. He for Wolfsburg for club, normally plays as a wing back, Adrian, but he's been playing kind of up top during these
Mm-hmm.
matches, and he got rewarded by 2 goals, right? So
Yeah.
he's been one of the standouts, and Gianluca Busio was replaced in the last match by Josh Atencio due to injury in the final game. And I also want to highlight Tolkien and Paxton Aronson's very, very solid performances during this tournament. And I think what everybody's agreeing with, Griffin Yao has kind of been the standout player of the tournament for the USA so far, and should definitely get a shot with the main squad going forward. So, yeah, man, USA reached the knockout squad, 1 win away from playing a medal match, and first time in 24 years that they reach it.
Yeah, that's actually quite impressive, to be honest with you. The fact that we have all these players at the under 23 age and making some big strides over here in the Olympic Games goes to show that the depth of the USMNT just keeps on getting better and wider. And it will be nice to see if the USMNT can actually take a medal home, not only for being 24 years since the last time, but I think it will be a nice cherry on top of a somewhat beaten cake from this summer, right? On looking at the main squad for the USMNT, it will prove that even though perhaps the big wins at the major competitive level haven't come yet, the USMNT can perhaps become a somewhat of a powerhouse at the under 23 level.
Yeah. Real quick before we kind of discuss their opposition for the next match,
Mhm.
I want to get your opinion. Do you consider the Olympics soccer tournament a like? How do you view the medal? I know a lot of people either they're like, oh man, the medal for the U.S. for not for the U.S. for Olympic soccer, awesome, or it's just Olympic soccer. Who gives a crap about that? What are your feelings towards it?
Well, that is a kind of a tough question because, for example, if you look at Mexico, right, one of the biggest wins in Mexico history, it's been the gold medal in
So you
2012.
consider it a big win?
Yeah, I will consider it a big win, but I think it has to do with the history of the team, right? Because if you look at, I don't know, a gold medal for Brazil or Argentina, it's like, all right, y'all got a gold medal, but it's kind of expected that your teams perform at that level no matter the tournament, right? And so for them to be bragging about a gold medal when they have won the World Cup and Copa Americas left and right, then that kind of sort of puts a big shadow on the actual accolade, right? I think that uh, there's some people saying that the Olympic Games are a better representation of the best teams, like the best international teams, compared to like classifying to a World Cup and then winning the World Cup, right? Even there's some people saying that winning the Euros is harder than winning the World Cup. Um, I think I think we'll have to look at from the perspective of the USMNT. It's not a top dog in the world of football, and winning a medal is actually a high accolade for them.
Yeah. So I guess it depended on the team.
I think so.
Yeah,
That will be my stand.
that's a
I
good way to see
I
it.
mean I think we'll celebrate it if we get something right. I mean, people are gonna make something out of it. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be like that meme where you have that guy freaking shouting and celebrating, and he's like on the fifth place or whatever. Have you seen that
Oh
meme?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it'll be like that. But I think it would just be nice for the USMNT history to get another Olympic
Accolade.
medal. Yeah,
Yeah.
another accolade.
So what's next? The USMNT faces Morocco at 8 a.m. Central Time on Friday. This Friday, August 2nd. Morocco coming into the tournament, surprising people, beating Argentina,
Hmm.
beating Iraq 3-0, and then losing to Ukraine 2-1, ultimately winning Group B. So that's going to be a tough one for the USMNT, not
Yeah.
one to take lightly at all. It's going to be a good matchup, I think. A matchup that's going to kind of be in the middle of, when they played France and then they played Guinea and New Zealand. This team is more balanced, right? And I
Yeah.
think it could go either way. Interesting match to watch. We'll be watching this Friday as USMNT takes on Morocco, and with a berth to the semifinals. And once they get to the semifinals, automatically playing for a medal at that point, regardless of what
Yes.
happens. So yeah, best of luck to Marko Mitrovic's squad there on Friday. Adrian, man, as we continue to watch this Olympics and as we wrap up this episode, brother, where can our listeners find us, dude?
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Instagram and TikTok. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes.
Yeah, so be sure to follow us and let us know in the comments below what have been your reactions to the USMNT so far in this Olympic tournament. Who have been your standout players? Who have been players that have kind of disappointed for you? What are your thoughts on this tournament so far? And what are your thoughts on the Olympic soccer tournament in general? Do you view it as a big tournament in the grand scheme of the soccer world, or is it just a kind of a unofficial tournament kind of in your eyes? Let us know below, definitely in the comments. The end, man. Another good episode. See you in the next one, brother.
Take it easy, my friend.
See ya.